Welcome to my new Fall 2020 Composition 1 English 1101 students. In this video, I'm just going to go through the syllabus and guidelines that are posted in D2L. If you go into our class in D2L, go to Course Home, click on Syllabus Fall 2020. First thing you will see there is syllabus and guidelines for Fall 2020. I'm just going to go through those right now. Let me make them a little bit bigger for you guys so it'll maybe be a little bit easier for y'all to see as I go through them. I don't think I know any of you because for many of you this is the first English class you've taken. I'm an English professor. So my name is Jake Sullins. You should feel free to call me Professor Sullins, whatever's comfortable to you, especially after we've met face to face. You know, like I said, whatever's comfortable for you. The easiest way to get in touch with me is the email address that's right here, jsullins@highlands.edu. Use your Outlook email to email me at my Outlook email. That's the thing that I check most frequently, that I'll respond to the quickest. I work both on the Marietta campus and the Cartersville campus because I live between the two of them. My physical office though is on the Marietta campus. So when I'm in Cartersville, I'm usually in the humanities office, which is in building A, room 323, up on the top third floor there. And so if you need to find me during my office hours, that's probably where I'll be. If you can't find me for one reason or another, drop me an email and we'll figure out where we need to meet on campus, on the Cartersville campus. I am usually on campus Tuesday, and this semester I'll be on Cartersville campus Tuesday and Thursday from 12:15 to 1:15 and then 4 to 5, which is right before our class. But if you need to see me and that doesn't work with your schedule, just let me know and we'll figure another time. We'll make an appointment some other time. This class is English 1101, Composition 1. It's got 2 different CRNs because of the class breakup, because of the pandemic. And I'll get into that in the other video, because if you meet with me on Tuesday versus if you meet with me on Thursday, we're going to have a slightly different schedule. We're going to do the exact same amount of work. But as you can see, if you go back one step, I've got 2 different schedules, one for people who meet face-to-face Tuesdays, one for people who meet face-to-face on Thursdays. So I'll have videos posted for those 2, for the difference between those 2 in just a second. This is a composition course focused on skills required for effective writing in a variety of contexts. Emphasis on exposition, analysis, and argumentation. Serves as an introduction to research skills. If you're looking to understand what this course is and how it is organized and how it is structured, exposition, analysis, and argumentation is the answer to that. If you don't know what exposition is, it is reading and writing that's main purpose is to answer the questions who, what, when, and where. It is trying to answer those most basic sort of, sometimes called journalistic questions, but also just basic narrative questions. Analysis is mostly focused on answering the question, how? How did this happen? How does this thing work? How did these things come to exist? Those kinds of process, walk me through this process, teach me how this works, teach me how this happened, kind of things. Argumentation, which is the last 2 papers we're going to write in this semester, often focuses on the question why. Why did this happen? Why should I think what you think? Why should I take this action and not take this other action? That's roughly the order that we're going to go in this semester. We're going to write a few exposition papers, we're going to write an analysis paper, then we're going to write a couple of argumentation papers. So that at the end of the semester we're going to have written 7 papers, but that's the big overall structure, is that exposition, analysis, argumentation. You can see that there are some student learning outcomes, the learning goals and outcomes for the institution. I'm not going to dig too deep into those. If you've got questions about them, be in touch with me. But those are mostly for the college's assessment purposes, along with the university system's Area A core learning goals. Again, that's mainly for assessment and up above our heads and up above our purposes. If you need disability accommodations, you can see right here the disability statement. If you need accommodations, extended time, whatever you might need, I've dealt with all kinds of accommodations over the years, and I'm happy to do whatever we'll make whatever needs to happen. But you have to go through the college's access center. You can contact them on the college's website, or you can just call the 706-802-5003 number. This class, like all university system classes, has the earned F statement. For our purposes in the computer system, that looks like an F $sign, and it has to do with if you sign up for this class and then don't do a certain percentage of the work, the college and the federal government will try to get back some of their financial aid. If you've got questions about that, I can try to answer them, but it's really a financial aid issue. Getting more specific to our class, readings and assignments. When we come to class, especially face-to-face, please come to class with something relevant and useful to say. And that doesn't have to be, oh, I think this or I think that. Come to class with relevant and useful questions. Why did you make us read this? What am I supposed to get out of this? What are you grading for on this specific paper? What do you think is the most important thing we can learn from what we read? Those kinds of questions. Read the assigned work thoroughly, and for almost every paper we're going to write, there's at least one reading and maybe 2 or 3. But during class, students, you guys, are expected to offer useful thoughts about that day's text. This is not a lecture class. I do not like lecturing and in a traditional class format where I'd be like talking in a room full of people for 75 minutes twice a week. I hate that. This is not a lecture class, and the farther we get into the semester, the more I expect students to contribute to class discussions, especially since we have a limited opportunity for class discussion since we're only meeting half as much. During the semester, you'll write about what you've read and do research on aspects of that reading. We are going to write a research paper kind of right in the middle of the semester, just as like an introduction to research skills. I may communicate with you. The 2 main ways that I will communicate with you are announcements in D2L, announcements and postings in D2L, and Highland's Outlook email, the email address that I already showed you. So you should check both of those on a regular basis, especially if you're not in the habit of checking your email, your Outlook email. You might want to load the Outlook app on your phone because it's really handy for keeping up with those and not missing an important email. If you submit an assignment via email using an email system other than the Highland system, Yahoo, Gmail, whatever, one of the 50 other systems that people use. If you choose to use those and not use the student Outlook system, and you email me some assignment and the college's spam filter filters it out, I didn't get it, and that's all that matters. So I would suggest that you use your Outlook email, because if you don't, you're kind of gambling with it. I also use D2L for content. As you can see, we're going through the syllabus right here, but I don't use its email system. I hate its email system because of the way that it's built and the way that it stacks screens on top of them. If you send me an email in the D2L email system, I may see it in December when I'm deleting stuff out of D2L. If also, and this is really important and really confusing, I have students who have taken me for 2 or 3 semesters and still cannot figure this out. If you submit an assignment to me via email, I don't accept shared documents. When you turn stuff into me via email, you need to send it to me as an attachment, as an email attachment, not as a Google Doc, not as a SharePoint, anything like that. I don't accept shared documents. If you send me something with a shared document, I'll delete it. I didn't get the document. If you've got questions about that, or you're struggling with that, or you don't know what that looks like or means, it happens every semester. That's fine. We'll sort it out. Assignment guidelines. Assignments should be typed, 1-inch margins, 12-point standard font, double spaced, the body double spaced. The top of the first page should include your name, class, date, and the assignment name, narrative paper, research paper, analysis paper. That information should be followed by the title of the paper. All formal papers require an assignment-specific title. The worst titles ever in the history of titles are like Paper 2 or Research Paper or something like that. Those aren't acceptable titles. That's just the assignment. And if a paper is about a particular text, like if we watch a movie and I ask you to write about it, the title of your paper can't be the title of the movie that we watched. So come up with your own unique, distinctive titles. When you submit coursework right here, due dates for assignments are listed on the syllabus and in D2L. Like I said, there's a little variation depending on if you're face-to-face Tuesday or face-to-face Thursday. Late assignments are not accepted except in extenuating circumstances and with prior approval from me. So you'll need some medical or legal documentation, and you'll need to let me know, hey, I'm going to miss the exam on Thursday or something. I generally prefer paper copies, but because of the situation that we're in, we're not going to strictly adhere to that, and most of the work you turn in is going to be as an email attachment anyway. Essays written for other courses will not be accepted in this one. In the grown-up world, probably the most important thing you can understand about me as a professor and mainly as a person grading your papers is what I'm about to tell you right here. In the adult world, almost all writing is communicative rather than expressive. So you got communicative writing and expressive writing. Communicative writing, the most important person is the reader, because what communicative writing judges is how well the writer communicated with the reader. In expressive writing, the most important person is the writer, because they're just trying to express themselves. If you read it and you don't get it, well, it doesn't matter, because they weren't writing it for an audience. They were just writing it to express something. This is a class and I am grading communicative writing. A truth of communicative writing is that the reader or the grader does not automatically care about the writer, nor does he find their perspectives fascinating or even interesting. The reader will feel about you, your subject, and your writing however the writing makes you feel. I can't grade the paper that you tried to write, or the paper that you wish you had written, or what you wish you had said. What I want to work with you on is what your writing actually communicates and how clearly it communicates. That is probably a third to half of what I teach in this class, is how to make what you want to say match what your paper actually says and communicate clearly and specifically. How not to be rude. This is more relevant when a class is meeting every day face-to-face, but since we're meeting some face-to-face, don't try to make a grand entrance when you come in. Just try to show up on time, be prepared, and plan to stay for the entire class. Please don't wear headphones or earbuds in class, because this isn't a club and you're not a DJ. Don't start packing up before class is over. Most students don't know this, don't know how incredibly rude this is, because you've always sat out in the classroom and you never sat out front. One of the most distracting and rude things that can happen is, like, 5 minutes before class is supposed to end, you hear the sound of 10 zippers all together. Just hang on till class is over before you start putting stuff away and zipping stuff up and stuff like that. And try not to be off task. If you're not when we're in class in person or online, if we're at meeting via Zoom, which we may do a couple of times this semester, if you're not focused on this class and what we're doing in it, then you're off task and being rude and disrespectful. Relevant to that and to being on task and focused versus off task, if you're using technology, phones, tablets, watches, in any way that I deem rude, disrespectful, annoying, or disruptive, I reserve the right to banish you from class. That's never had to happen in the whole time that I've had this policy. Laptops are completely banned from use in class at any time, and your cell phone, your cellular devices should only be used in emergencies. When we're in class together, I want that to be class time, where we're focused on learning and going through the text that we read and working on your writing. We're all paying for this course, if nothing else, with our time and effort, and so I want it to be used as effectively and usefully as possible. Text and supplies for this class, you don't need a book. Everything that we're going to read and everything that I'm going to go over is linked in the D2L modules that are relevant to it. And I will show those to you, and it will become obvious and evident to you where stuff is as we go through the class. If you desperately want to buy a book, I would suggest buying a used copy of the Hardbrace Essentials, just because it is a very basic guidebook for all the kinds of writing you're going to do in college, not just in this class, but the research papers you're going to write. Whatever your major is, you're going to be doing research and research writing and literature reviews and stuff like that. So you might need that book because it shows you how to write in all the different styles like MLA and APA in Chicago. If you're desperate to buy a book, get that Hardbrace Essentials book. How to prepare and participate. During class, anybody can ask any writing-related question that you want. No question about writing is stupid, so please don't keep yourself from asking a question or making a comment because you're afraid it will sound obvious or unsophisticated or you're like, whatever. Because critical reading and analysis, the things that we're going to do in this class are such hard, weird things. A seemingly obvious question or comment can end up being really, really useful. That doesn't mean that we all have to agree with each other. And in fact, one of my common experiences in this class is at the beginning, many of you will disagree with me about some basic things that I try to teach you about writing. Because for most of you, this is your first college writing class. And in my experience, I'm about to ask you to do a bunch of things, and in fact, tell you to do a bunch of things that go against the ways you've learned to write in high school. And in fact, the hardest part about my job is often turning off the high school English teachers that you all have in your head. Because often I will say to a student, why did you do this wrong thing? Why did you make this mistake? Why did you do this thing that I specifically on the second day of class said never to do? And the answer is almost always, well, my high school English teacher said, and then fill in the blank. We can have all those kinds of conversations, and in fact, we will probably need to as we go through the semester. I just ask that we be civil and respectful to each other and not rude about anything. We will begin some classes with unscheduled quizzes. Probably not, especially because we have a limited number of face-to-face meetings together. If you need to meet with me, and in fact, I encourage you to meet with me about rough drafts of your papers, especially on the day before they are due or the day before they are due. I'm happy to talk to you about those, but I'm not going to force you to let me help you. Class attendance is necessary, and I will take attendance. When we have face-to-face class, I'll take attendance if for nothing else because I have to do that for the college's financial aid rules and regulations. Because we're in kind of a unique situation, I will be somewhat flexible with absences, but if you're just never showing up and never in touch with me, that will become an issue pretty quickly by the time we get into September. Also, when we're meeting in person and classes going on, try not to wander in and out of the classroom. It's just distracting and takes away from the classroom environment. And the last thing, filming and recording or photographing the professor, the class, the classroom, or any documents or people associated with the course is strictly prohibited. If you got questions about what that means or what I mean by recording or taking pictures, just be in touch. We will do a library orientation in this class right around the time as part of the preparation for writing the research paper. So we'll meet that requirement. The college, the humanities department requires that we write 6 essays in this class. We're going to write 7, mainly because the essays we are writing are short essays. They range from like 500 words to 900 words or so. The first essay we're going to write is like 500. The research paper, the longest thing we're going to write, is 900 to 1,000. This course will also include instruction in serious grammar errors, sentence fragments, comma splices, and in fact, I would suggest to you comma splices are like the writing mistake of the moment. Like I see people make more comma splices than anything else lately. If you don't know what that is, you should be excited because you're going to learn this semester. Academic honesty and integrity. As you can see, we're almost near the bottom, so hang on with me just one more second. Plagiarism is academic dishonesty. To borrow another writer's words and ideas without proper acknowledgement is a form of dishonesty known as plagiarism. To avoid plagiarism, you must cite all quotations, summaries, and paraphrases. This is always a shock to students when I say this in class, especially in this class, because many of y'all have gone through high school thinking you don't need to cite summaries or you don't need to cite paraphrases because you have perhaps thought or been taught even that it's only direct quotations that need citation. The problem is, and if you put it in your own words, it doesn't need citation. That is totally wrong, and the problem with it is citation doesn't care about your words at all. Citation is about ideas and giving credit where you got ideas. And so if you write a sentence and the information you share in it, you got from some source, even if you put it in your own words, you have to cite it because you're giving credit to the source of that idea. Citation and plagiarism doesn't care about words at all. It cares about ideas and how the ideas in your paper got there. If you have questions about that, we can definitely talk more about it. I would just suggest to you to do your own work, to do your own writing. If you need help with anything, please be in touch with me. The college has a bunch of resources like the Tutorial Center and the Writing Center to help you with your writing. Just please don't plagiarize. I taught a literature class this summer, and I had 3 cases of plagiarism, and 2 of those students had to drop their class because of it. So just please don't put yourself in that situation. And then the grade breakdown for this class, you will write 7 essays that they're 10% apiece, so that gets you to this 70%. We will do some other work. We'll take 4 exams. That will give you 10% of this 30% grade. We'll do some in-class workshops and in-class assignments. That will give you the other 20%. The workshops and participating in all aspects of the work of having your paper workshopped will really give you that other 20% to get you to. So you'll have 70% for the papers, 10% for the exams, and 20% for participating in all the workshopping and paper revision that we're going to do over the course of this semester. That'll be clearer when we dig into the actual schedule. The last thing that's on here is just a syllabus addendum and agreement. By continuing to remain enrolled in this class, you're promising to come to class, physically or electronically, to complete the assignments in a timely manner, participate in class discussions, and to be in touch with me if you're having problems or concerns. If I have to change the due dates or anything like that, like if we have to go fully online because of the pandemic or something like that, I will give you some notice. We won't just at the last second change due dates or something like that. I'll give you at least 24 hours, if not more. If you've got questions about anything I just went over in this video, please don't hesitate to email me or bring it up in class or ask me, in the hallway or in class or whatever is most convenient for you. If you're shy and don't want to talk in class, we can talk over Zoom, we can talk over email, whatever's comfortable for you. But that should give you the basic guidelines for this course. Welcome to English 1101. I'm excited to meet all of you, excited especially to read your work this semester. And again, if you've got any questions or concerns as we get started, please be in touch.